Unmute.
Thank you. Welcome to another episode of the Better Your Business Show. Today, we're setting sail on the choppy seas of business financials. Picture the classic Gilligan's Island, the seven-stranded castaways trying to navigate their way with limited resources. Well, in our business journey, maintaining a healthy cash flow is reminiscent of having a robust, unsinkable ship to keep us afloat amidst the ever-surging waves of economic uncertainties. Today, we get to learn from the amazing host of the Better Your Business Show, Natalie Essman. It's all about cash flow, y'all, so stay tuned. You don't want to miss this.
Our goal is simple: to help you achieve the dream and vision you first had when you thought about starting a business. We're here to make growing your business less complicated. There are building blocks to build a sustainable business. We promise to seek them out and address them all. The Better Your Business Show starts now.
Okay, I'm unmuted now. Learned how to work the show. Hey, everyone. Welcome to another episode of the Better Your Business Show, Season 5, Episode 2. Tonight, we're going to hear from the amazing financial genius, Natalie Essman, the host of the Better Your Business Show, the brains behind this. So excited to have you here, Natalie.
Thank you. I'm excited to be here with you, as always.
Getting to talk about money.
Yes, I am excited to talk about money.
I was just like, okay, there's no one else. There's no one better to talk about this at this point than to get Natalie in here. Let's talk about cash flow, budgeting, and all things money that really has to do with business. Because if your business isn't making money, is it really a business? It's not sustainable if you're not making money. And so really paying attention to that. So I'd love to dive a little bit deeper into, how do you maintain this? How do you manage this? And just learn from your experience over the years of, helping people with their finances in both, their business and personal lives.
So the question is, sorry, what's the question?
No, there wasn't a question. I was really just excited to talk about that. So it's just more of the intro.
Yeah, no, I am really excited. I've been putting a lot of thought into this topic, obviously, because I wanted to be as effective tonight and give people as much value as we can. Obviously, if you're listening to the podcast or if you're watching, the show, sometimes it's auditory, sometimes it's visual. And with numbers, sometimes it can be challenging if you don't have something to look at. So I've been just putting a lot of thought into this and just how much psychology goes behind our finances, our relationship with money, our patterns with money. I mean, it just can go so deep. So I'm really excited to just get more into it. Obviously, you have to understand the basics if you're going to get into the other areas. So it's important to understand the basics, but I'm really excited to just dive into it for sure.
Well, let's talk about budgeting first then, because I know that you've created budget journals, you've done, some amazing things. You and I have talked about budgeting and how important that is. And we've had people on talking about how do you start a budget when you're first starting your business. So do you have any advice for like new entrepreneurs that are just starting out? How can they determine like a realistic budget when they are in those initial stages?
Well, the first thing that I would say is it starts with our personal finances first, right? So the first thing that I would look at is, are you budgeting your personal finances in the first place? And if you're not doing a good job at that, that's the first place that you need to get better. That's number one, because you're not even going to know what your budget is for your business if you don't know, what your budget is for your own personal finances. So that's the first thing, is making sure you have your own personal finances done. And then as you've reversed engineered your business and what your numbers are, knowing how much you can spend every month into that. A lot of it can be bootstrapped. We talk about that a lot here. A lot of that too in the beginning can be done on your own. And then as you're making more money in your business, you can have other people do that for you. You can delegate it out. So there's a lot of different things you have to look at, including what kind of business are you having? Are you going to be self-employed? Are you going to have a brick and mortar business? What do you want that vision to look like? What I found for most people is that they don't have a clear end goal. They just kind of start taking action and hoping something will stick. That's where they get burnout. They're never going to hit the goal because they don't have one. So that's going to be a challenge, right? And so I think really that's part of where it starts. The other thing that I've noticed too is that for most people, they don't have a financial goal. And even if they do, it's not realistic or conducive for them. So that would be some of the biggest ones, is just making sure you're budgeting in your own finances, and then making sure you have a realistic financial goal for your business and that you have one.
Okay, so I'm hearing you, and I completely understand the words that you're saying. I think there's the challenge though with a lot of business owners. You said they don't have financial goals. How are you setting those? And I guess it was more to the point of you saying they're not realistic. How do you know? I mean, this is my goal. I want to make $1 million. I want, even if I can assign that number, how is that? How do I know that that's not realistic?
Well, so two things on that. The first one is I just actually had an agent on my team. Her and I just had this conversation the other day. She just moved, and so her expenses went up. And I said, okay, well, let's talk about what that looks for you financially. Let's make sure we have your recipe for success there, right? And so I said, how much money do you want to make? And And she said, well, I want to earn an extra 40,000 because she does life insurance part-time. She said, I want to make an extra 40,000 by December. So I said, okay, so when we had the conversation to say it came out to like an extra 10 grand a month, right? So I asked her, have you ever made that amount of money before? And she said, no. And I said, well, what's the most amount of money that you've ever made? And so she told me, and I said, okay, I'm not, me, Shanna, I'm going to be your biggest fan. I'm going to believe in you. I will, encourage you, and I will have faith with you for sure. But we have identity. We have beliefs that come around money, and you can't just go from making 4 or 5 grand a month to 10 grand a month. We have to develop new habits, behaviors, belief systems to go with that. So one of the first things I ask people, what's the goal? For example, if you're looking to make if you need an extra $1,000 part-time in your side hustle, then that should be what it is. I want to make an extra $1,000 part-time for my side hustle, right? That's what most people, including that watch the show, they're self-employed looking to make extra income on the side and then transition into that. If you're looking into transitioning your business full time, well, then it's, okay, well, how much money do you need to replace to be able to do that? If you're bringing home 5 grand a month, how much of your product do you need to sell, move, whatever, to make your 5 grand? And then duplicating that consistently. I've talked about this a lot, right?
Yeah.
To have your recipe up for success. Because once you have your recipe for success and you know how to do it, what happens too is we go to something called unconscious competence. Are you familiar with that? Unconscious competence? Okay. I try to live my life by unconscious competence as much as possible, right? I'm like, program me in, make me be on autopilot to have good habits and behaviors as much as possible. Because once we're there, we're not even thinking about it. We're just going and doing our thing. It's just like cooking something. If I wanted to make Shanna your fried chicken recipe, right? I go out there to see you. I go with you and your aunt. You give me your recipe. I'm probably not going to go in my kitchen and make this awesome fried chicken like you. I'm probably going to get in there. I'm probably going to call you a couple times and be like, hey, I was uncertain on this. How do I do this? Blah, 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 blah. Right?
Yeah.
The second time I go to make it, I'm like, I got this. I'm still using your recipe. I'm looking at your notes, but I can follow the recipe now. I know how to do it. The third time I make your fried chicken, I'm probably not looking at my recipe card again. I'm grabbing the stuff from the thing I'm making the chicken, right? It's the same thing when it comes to our cash flow. Once we have that, it's an unconscious competent thing, right? Our thermostat's aware at our level of comfort zone, and we're doing it habitually. So if that answered the question. So I got on a tangent a little bit.
It did. It sounded a little bit oversimplified. 3 times and I got it. Because I guess I think about a lot of business owners and the journey that they take is, I don't know that many people are paying attention to it, right? I know that I'm making money, but am I really visiting this? Am I really seeing what's coming in and what's going out? Am I understanding the ebb and flow of cash in my business? If I'm not really looking at it, then it's going to take me a
You're
lot
not
longer.
planning on making money. Sorry to interrupt you, but that's the truth. You're not planning on making money. I learned that in a meeting full of 35 people when I had to give my accountability for the weekend. I didn't know my numbers, and he said, you don't know your numbers because you're not really planning on making money here.
Wow.
And I was like, hey, you know what? That's the truth. I'm hoping this works. If I was intending or knowing it was going to work, I would know my numbers. I would know my stuff.
That's valid. I mean, and I think that's really important for a lot of business owners out there to pay attention to. If you're not watching your money, if you don't know what's coming in, what's going out, you aren't planning on making money. There's no way that you're ever, I mean, you might get lucky, but I would say that percent of people, very, very small, but I don't see that being sustainable. And that's what we're really all about here, is trying to make sure that your business lasts beyond your 5, year 10, that it really is something that's more of a legacy that you're leaving behind, that you're choosing how you want to walk away from it versus economic uncertainties, everything coming at you, and then you don't know, or bringing someone in and they're just like, I don't know how you've made it this long, right? Or wanting to borrow or wanting to do whatever. And it's just like, well, do you know what's really happening? So have you always been like this with money? Have you always been just mindful of it?
I've always been this way with numbers. I do it with time as well. It's something that I subconsciously do. I don't know why that I do it. When I'm doing things, when I'm systematizing things in my head, I break it down by minutes and seconds. And it's just a thing that I do. I don't know why. Even when I was a waitress, I would literally have your dining experience broke down in my head by the minutes. I don't know why my mind does that. I have no idea. That's just what it looks at.
Yeah,
I have this thing with efficiency is really what I think it boils down to, is I just want to be efficient and then on with whatever I want to do next.
Yeah, I think when I was a waitress, I was more about just charming them. Because I'm like, there's only so much within my control when we're super busy, and I can smile at you and I can smile at the cook back there and hope my stuff takes precedence. But yeah, that's interesting. I guess in your experience, I'd love to hear, like, you gave us the one example of when the guy told you, well, you're not wanting to make money. What about on the flip side of that, where it was just like you knew you had this, where it just made sense and you're able to maybe even share that with clients where you've seen a difference and the impact that has of paying attention to your money, understanding where it's going and how it's going?
It changes everything. Like, it changes everything. I don't know that I can emphasize that enough. It changes everything in your life. Gets me emotional. Sorry, I'm getting emotional about it. It changes your whole life. It does. Because why? It takes away stress out of your life. I mean, think about, why do most people stress? Money. I got to pay my bills. I can't take care of my health the way I want to. I can't invest in me the way I want to. I have to pick up the kids. I'm stressed about this, blah, blah, blah. It affects everything. Until we learn how to be a good steward of our money, nothing changes. And I will tell you that I have business owners making multiple 7 figures a year that are not being good stewards of their money. It is no difference. Okay. It is no difference. You just make more money. It changes everything to have that freedom and that peace of mind. That's why, well, I'm not going to get conspiracy theory.
Come on.
It changes everything for you. If you really want someone was asking me something about the economy the other day, and I was like, create your own economy. Like, I don't really care that much about, I'm not going to say don't care about what's going on. I want people to be helping, but so much emphasis on the economy. Create your own, do your thing. Pay your taxes every month so the government leaves you alone and do your thing, right? Create your own economy. We get so caught up in everything that's going on that we give our power away, like it's not up to us. We all have work ethic. It's not hard to go out and earn some money. Just what do you want to do to earn it? And in what way do you want to earn it? Do you want to, trade time for money? Do you want to earn it passively? How do you want to earn that money? Do you want to, even when Carlton, we were talking about Amazon early, and he was talking about influencer, I was laughing. I was like, people are probably going to be on here hearing me talk about Amazon tonight and think, great, am I going to have to start dancing on, Instagram and TikTok now? But it's like, how do you want it to look? and then reverse engineering those numbers. You and I already know, we've gone over the numbers so many times for business owners and self-employed people. The average person isn't making that much money.
Right.
They're really not. I had an agent that I had trained about 10 years ago. She reached out to me today. She finally had quit her business and gone full time in financial services about 2 years. And she told me this year her income went down. And she was trying to not give herself a hard time about it. But she goes, gosh, the freedom that I've had this year, I've traveled and done all these things. And I was like, then who cares about the other money? You did whatever you wanted. You lived your life. You lived your best life the way you wanted to. Just because you made a little bit, does it matter? You did exactly what you wanted to do.
It's interesting that you say that. I mean, I guess I was thinking about the knowing your money situation. I think about the years that I was doing taxes and how many people would come in, those self-employed people, and it's just like when we started adding everything up, they're just like, I didn't make that much. Well, but you did. I mean, I'm looking at these numbers that you've shown me from your profit and loss statement. And it's crazy how many times that's the first time they're really looking at it, that you had no clue that that much money came into your business or your household, or, however we looked at the whole situation, but just specifically your business. You had no clue that much money came into your business. And even worse, you had no clue that that much money went out.
Mm-hmm.
And you were counting on things that don't necessarily apply. You're thinking, oh, okay, well, there's no way I made any money because I have nothing to show for it. But that could be because of what you were saying. You're not paying attention to it. You're not looking at where your money is going. You're not on an whatever cadence you should be. And I would be curious to know how often should you be reviewing, budget? How often should you be reviewing cash flow? Looking into, how much profit am I making? My profit margin. How often should you be doing that?
I think it depends on what size business you're running too, right? But if you're a self-employed, person making 100,000, 250,000 a year, I don't think it's unrealistic that you're looking at these things at least monthly, maybe quarterly, but at least monthly, just making sure in your bottom line, you should always know that you're hitting whatever your monthly amount of money is that you need to make. What if you're not making that amount of money that you need to make every month to pay your bills and you didn't look at it? Well, then what? Well, gee, I don't know what I do. I don't know what people do. Borrow from your mom and dad. Like, what do you do? Right. I remember, I just think about, when I first got into sales like this and, pumping on my gas pedal, hoping I would make it to the gas station. Right. And having that type of stress. And it's just like, do you want to live like that?
Right.
Do you want to live like that? Or you just want to have the recipe out of the way, get it done, and then you have the freedom to make choices as you want to make them and make the decisions how you want to make them. And I think that to me, that's just the most important thing.
Okay, so we know that most people don't come into it looking at it this way, and ideally we're changing that dynamic, right? But what can I do now? I've already started my business. I haven't been paying attention. I am one of those people that, and not me personally,
right.
But yes, I want to make that very clear. But if I am one of those business owners that really hasn't, didn't understand the importance of looking at those numbers and understanding at some basic level, if I don't have a Natalie on my team, understanding at some basic level the, cash flow, what goes in, what comes out. How do I start setting up this system that you're talking about? How do I look at it the Natalie Essman way?
Well, you got to look at how often you're getting paid, right, is part of it. And then again, just reverse engineering those numbers to even down to, I think in the beginning, what does your daily activities need to look like? Right. And I think for most people, like you said, are we going to knock it out of the park on your first 90 days? It's probably going to take about 90 days for you to kind of build up that momentum of, I need to email these 30 people or blah, 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 or whatever. But Joe Ingram, who we had on the show, he always says sales is only a numbers game until you learn how to sell. And I agree with him on that, right? I agree with him on that too. So I think once you know your numbers, you understand your product, and you're talking to the people that want it, then you just have to talk to the amount of people that you need to, and as your closing ratios increase, then you can change those numbers. But you have to pay attention to how many people do you need to talk to daily. Like my big thing was 10-3-1. I have 10 appointments. I'm going to end up running 7. 3 are going to buy. 1's going to stick is what's going to happen. 1's going to have to wait a couple days, or he's going to not get approved for his product or whatever. I knew that was my weekly recipe to get my 1 sale. So if I needed to make 4 sales that week, I need to have 40 appointments in my schedule. And then the average of how much does that sale make me?
So that only covers the what's coming in aspect of it. How are you monitoring what's going out? Because that's a part of it too. That's, if I know I've got all of this coming in, but some of that has to flow out in order for my business to still run.
Well, you can look at your bank statements, right? If you haven't been paying attention to that, obviously your bank statement should be telling you that. How much is going out. It's going to tell you if you're out every month, and then looking through them to see. The other thing too is if you're in a position, and sometimes people don't think they're in a position to be able to do this, but getting a bookkeeper, I think, is really important. If you are able to be in a position where you can get a bookkeeper, that's a tremendous difference in your business, because they're keeping everything in line for you. They're showing you what's coming in, what's coming out, and you're having an awareness of how much money you're spending on things that may not be serving you either. I have a client that has a multi-7-figure construction business, and him and his wife, not of recently, but the previous year, were just not getting along well over finances. She ended up having to go get a job. How does your wife have to go get a job when you have a business like that? I would tell him, can we stop having this conversation? I would tell him, it is not about her needing to go get a job. This is not what this is about, right? And almost every time I talk to him, by the way, he's going through a drive-through. Just so you know. Not that I'm saying all his money's going to fast food, but he's just really not paying attention to where things are being spent, right?
Right.
Got his bookkeeper. Oh my gosh, my whole life has changed. She's staying home with the kids. I got a full-time receptionist up front. She runs down. I literally just drive by and check on sites now. I literally just show up. The boss is here. Everything's going, boop, off to the next. Just because he hired that bookkeeper to look over the finances for them. And they're not even that expensive. You could get one probably like $150 a month.
Yeah, there are a lot of people starting in that industry, or that really want to dive in, that have the knowledge and want that experience. So getting a bookkeeper is a lot easier than most, and more, affordable than most people really realize. But I think so many business owners, because they're not looking at things, are afraid to spend that money. And it's just like, it's going to make a world of difference how you're spending the money that's coming into your business. And that does really start by you holding yourself accountable. We talked about that, I think, last season, and taking responsibility for, okay, I need to see this. I know I have to afford these things if I want my business to stay around, because and if I want a peaceful, happy home life, because I can't imagine making that much money. You said 7 figures, and I cannot maintain, a standard of living for myself and my family. Mm-hmm. And I know that that's my business is making all of that, but I should be drawing a pretty decent salary if my business is making 7 figures, right? So I love that we're talking about this, because I think it is something that is overlooked. And I know that we want to get to a little bit more about budgeting. I know you've got a budget journal that you've created. How has that helped you? And how do you feel like that's going to help so many other people? And where can they get it?
So you can go to my Instagram to download it. I am going to put it on the Better Your Business Show Instagram as well. This is a personal finance one. I do have where you track your budgeting. I do have where you can use different ways to get out of debt. And I do have questions to go around your psychology and what makes you happy. Because one of the things that I found is that when you ask people to turn around and look at their finances, usually a feeling comes up for them of why they don't want to. Right? There's some fear or something that's coming up there. And really the question is, what is it and why is it coming up? That's really what needs to get past at that point, because then why would you want to do it every month? We just keep avoiding it. right? But if we look at, okay, why is this coming up for me? Just attack it head on, then we can grow through that.
Well, I know when you and I first started talking, and you and I were having this money conversation, and it was, for me, it was embarrassing because I felt like I should have known more than I did, right? And I think that really is what gets a lot of business owners, is that ego and pride. And this isn't, shade on anyone. This is just recognition that we all go through that. And so it's so hard when I'm so gifted in other ways that I didn't even pay attention to it. And I didn't grow up learning a lot of these lessons. I grew up seeing struggle. And that was what, I guess, my mind was like, okay, that's normal. And it's not. It just requires you to really look. And when I went through and really just spelled out, okay, here's what I've got coming in, here's what's going out, it makes a major difference. I know it made a significant difference in my life. I shared a budget spreadsheet that I just created on my own. It really is that basic for me. How much do I have coming in? What all do I already have going out? And then what's left over at the end of the month, or what changes do I need to make in order to achieve this goal of having something left over at the end of the month, so that I'm not stressed, so that I'm not worried or feeling like I've got to get another job and miss time with my family. And what lessons am I teaching my children? What lessons, am I really passing on? You are passing on something when you're that close with, family members, especially children. I really think about that. And you're kind of doing them a disservice if you're not really paying attention to these things. You're teaching them one way or another. And it's so much better if you take a step back and just say, okay, I want to change this. This is enough. No more members of my family have to go through this.
Yes, it's so true. I was thinking about, I had seen something today, I actually posted on my Instagram, and it was that usually by the time you get to their third generation of wealth, it's gone. That's it. They've just blown it because of lack of education. And for Sam and I, that's why we do the things that we do as far as being entrepreneurs. What we're doing with money is because we want to teach our kids, right? And I was like, dang, the third generation, that means my grandkids, it doesn't make it very far.
Right.
It's not very far to, Carlton's on his clock. It's not very far to go into that third generation, but I forgot what I was going to say now. Sorry. But for us, it really was about teaching our kids. But I'll tell you something. I'll go just into another story that you made me think of was when my son was, I think he was 5. We lived up in where there's a lot of orchards. And so every year we'd get fires up there. And one year we were completely surrounded by the fire. So we had come and gotten evacuated. Mm-hmm. And so I go grab a box and I go to my hutch and I'm getting like sentimental stuff. I'm grabbing albums, photo albums, blah, 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 whatever. And my son comes out and he had worn his Spider-Man Halloween costume. I can still see him. He was the cutest little thing to bed that night. And he comes out. Now, Shanna, we had a pet pygmy goat. I know. Her name was Star. So he has Star on the leash in one hand and he has his piggy bank. He's 5 years old. He had his piggy bank. And he was already thinking of money. And I stopped and looked at him. And I thought, what am I telling him about money? That's what he's thinking about, grabbing his best friend and the money at 5 years old. I was subconsciously teaching him something. And it probably, I don't know what it was. In my mind, I thought, am I teaching him this is the most important thing? Or is this, I don't know. But I just noticed he did that. So I know we have a break. But
yes. Okay. So we are going to jump into another segment of your Just Good Business. We've got a coffee company that's in your neck of the woods, Natalie. Well, I don't know how close you are to Oakland, but they have locations all around, I think, California. So let's go ahead and roll that beautiful bean footage.
A Black-owned coffee brand based out in Oakland, California is touting its heritage with the saying, "Coffee, Africa's gift to the world." CBSN producer Gene Song shares how Red Bay Coffee has been brewing diversity and equity as their mission.
From the Burundi to the slow burn, Red Bay Coffee is roasting beautiful coffee to the people.
We literally started Red Bay Coffee in our basement. We call it the Coffee Dojo. We were able to get our first little roaster there, and the rest is history.
Owned by Keba Conte and his wife Raquel, Red Bay Coffee has been a community hub in Oakland and a destination for visitors since 2014. But their roots are planted in what the company calls the fourth wave of coffee.
So in the third wave, you would see people making sure the farmers got paid and ensuring that they got beautiful coffee. But when you got on this side, you wouldn't really see diversity. You wouldn't really see equity. So at the fourth wave is really companies who are looking at the whole company. We work with previous incarcerated and also ensuring that we have women in leadership positions. I think for us, it's really important to use our company as a platform to get more people of color into the industry so it doesn't become, because it's really hard to find people of color in the industry when they don't have a chance to get in there.
A wise man once asked, what if starting a business was like jumping out of a plane? And like 76% of businesses, what if 76% of parachutes failed before you reached the destination? What about those of you who have already jumped? Well, you may still have time to check your business. Pillar5.com, where businesses get it right.
Welcome back. We're talking to Natalie Essman all about money. She is your financial expert. So excited to dig a little bit deeper. I know we want to talk about profit margin, but before we do that, I want to jump back to that Just Good business. I want people to understand this is not paid advertisement for them. These are just companies. We'd love to hear from you. If you're out there and you know of companies who are doing things that are serving an underserved community or doing things that are outside of themselves, that it's not just about their profit, it's about serving people. They're hiring formerly incarcerated people, they're hiring people of color, making sure that women are being represented. I loved that story when I heard about it. It was just like, that's so beautiful, because a lot of people won't give those second chances or give those first chances in some cases. So that's the reason. And so if you know of any companies out there that are just doing some amazing things, supporting the community in some way, send them our way. We want to feature them in that segment. And I know we've got a few more coming up that I've talked to. I'm excited to share some of those that are battling hunger and trafficking and, all kinds of things. So super excited about that. But Natalie Essman, let's talk about profit margin, because you were saying some things before we started the show that I really think people need to pay attention to. And you hit on it a little bit in the first half when you were talking about goals, making sure that you have financial goals set. And that's important for your business. You do need to have a revenue goal. You do need to have, just not just the vanity metrics from social media. Of course, you want to look at things like that. But I think we tend to pay more attention to things like that than we do the money piece. And that's the biggest component. Your business cannot operate without money, and you will not be able to get funding if you're not paying attention to that. You're going to have a hard time asking for money when you have not been paying attention to or mismanaged the money that's come through already. So if you'll share with everyone just that same wisdom that you and I were talking, that you shared with me prior to the show, I would love for people to hear that.
So I don't look at it as, I look at it as, how much money do I want to earn? And then in which way do I want to earn that? That would be the first thing that I think is different. Because I think so many times we look at, I want to start this business, and we haven't looked at what are those profit margins? How much time is that going to take me? Like, why did you even choose that business would be one of the questions I would ask. Because making money is easy. That's one of the things that if I can hone that in through the Better Your Business show. People think making money is hard. It is not. Making money is not hard. Becoming financially independent isn't hard. It's just that we don't have the habits, behaviors, belief systems to be able to do that. All we have to do is change those things. It's $274 a day to make a passive six-figure income, which most people are not making. Most people, their average is $50,000 to $60,000 a year. So if we cut that in half, you need to make $136 a day to make $50,000 a year. When I think about what my value systems are, what's most important to me, it's freedom of time. I talk about that all the time. I want to be with my family. I want to be with my husband. I want to be with my dog, right? I want to do those things. So I'm going to look at what's going to give me the largest profit margin for my time. If you think about it, if it's $136 a day, you can literally go to Marshall's, buy 2 pairs of Nikes, underpriced, sell them on eBay, and make your money for the day and be done with it. How many hours did that take? But it's just, how do you want it to look? How do you want to look? Are you willing to learn the things to be able to do that, to have a business that's in alignment with your values? I think that's the person things. And how do you want to earn that money? Do you want it to be all passive? Do you want to, work 3-4 hours a day? One of the reasons why I became an entrepreneur and loved finance is because, number one, it taught me how to get out of my mess of finances, right? But the other thing too is there's very high profit margins. As a single mom, driving my son to school, I was going to school myself, right? Working a full-time job as I'm learning my side hustle. I liked the high profit margins because I wanted a lot of bang for my buck. I didn't have a lot of time. So I thought, okay, what can I do that I still enjoy that will give me a lot of bang for my buck? And it always comes back to financial services for me. Like I told you, I always think I'm going to retire. I'm like, just had another great month.
Living my best life. I just got out of the pool. No, but that's amazing. And I love that you said that $136 a day. If you could make that, doing any number of side hustles, and I know when we start that group, that's going to be something that we really start talking to people about is different, here are different ways that you can make that $136 a day, still keeping your job until you feel secure, depending on what your financial goals are, right? But it was crazy because I was like, that cannot possibly be right, because it seems like such a small amount of money. I've got 24 hours in which to make $136, and I know it just shouldn't take too terribly long to do that, but it really is. If you make $136 a day, that's $50,000 a year that you can have in your pocket. And there's so many ways, there's so many different side hustles out there. If you wanted to, you can Uber Eats or do something like that if you're in like a major metropolitan area, for sure. But there are so many different ways that you can make that money. So what's Carlton saying? Many people are focused on how they'll spend that money before they make it. That's true, but because a lot of people that are doing this are starting in a deficit. They're not looking at this as passive income. They're looking at this to make up the difference that they're seeing between what their bills are and what their paychecks are, because we focus a lot on our wants rather than our needs. And sitting down and doing, just like you said, that even starting personally, that budget journal where I look and I say, okay, here's everything that I've got coming in, everything that's going out. Here's what I need. Here's what I want. And budgeting for these, discretionary wants. But you're right, Carlton. A lot of people are focused on, okay, I've got to spend that on that. But if you just shift your way of thinking, you can get out of that deficit, but it is going to require some changes, like Natalie was saying, in your mindset, in your habits. You are going to have to think about things differently because you want something different. So do different things.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And also when you're, paying attention to your budget and you're paying attention to what's coming in too, the other thing that I always encourage people is pay attention to, like, it doesn't have to be, physical money. Maybe it's, I had a gift come in that was something, or I had, there's other ways that we're receiving monetary value that doesn't look like paper. So as you're budgeting and you're putting yourself into that mindset, also pay attention to where those things are coming in, that maybe it's not a direct deposit in your bank account, just so we're all becoming more aware of all the opportunity and abundance that's around us. Because then you're just going to notice yourself bringing in multiple income from places anyway.
So what about profit margin? Because I know we touched on budget, we touched on cash flow. What about profit margin? Why is that so important when you're looking at your business finances?
Because I look at that as how much time do you want to spend working? Right?
Okay.
That's how I look at profit margin. So the less time you want to spend working, the higher your profit margin needs to be. Right. And so if you want to work, I know that the paradigm is hustle, work 80 hours a week. If you're not working 80 hours a week, you don't want about it enough, blah, 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 blah. I don't agree with that mentality at all.
I don't
think that we're meant to work all day. I believe that we're meant to enjoy life and do things and have value, and yes, make money and do all these things too. But I think there needs to be enjoyment to it, and just hustling and grinding 24 hours a day. And I did it for a long time. All I was sick. It just doesn't make me happy. For myself, I just want to have the freedom of time. So I'm going to look at that profit margin. Again, the higher it is, the more time you have. So what's most important to you? It's really about what your values are. If you like to be gone all day and you like to do that thing, I know there are personality types that just like to grind it out. I get that. So if that's you and that's how you want to do things, do it that way.
So that reminds me. So one of my favorite clients, they're all my favorites. It's like having children in some respects. You're all my favorites. I love you all the same, but in different ways. But we went through that exercise of really looking at profit margin. And that was as a result of being on this show and me being exposed to experts and not merely looking at markup, but really looking, it was, I cannot remember the expert. I'll have to go back and find that. But they were talking about, don't look at markup. Look at your margin, because that makes all the difference in the world. And it made such a significant difference for her as we were going through it. One, forced her to analyze her costs. And it was I can't say it was a simple process because I don't want to oversimplify anything. This is going to take a little bit of time to get yourself in that right mindset and get systems set up in place. But I literally created a spreadsheet that allowed her to go through and calculate what her costs were, and then look at, okay, here's what I'm selling things are. Here's my actual profit margin. Here's my desired profit margin. And now she's got this column that says, okay, if I raise my price this much, then I'm at that desired profit margin. And then you can look at that. We had another column that was just like, okay, here's a target. Here's my actual, here's my target, here's my, so it was really looking at all of these things, but she's now going to get paid for the work that she's doing. So there was more to it than just, here's what's coming in, here's what's going out, or here's the difference between the two, and this is the percent. But it's, what are your goals here? What are you trying to accomplish? Because like you said, if we're looking at it and you want to, it's just all you have to do is make $136 a day and you can make $50,000. But now if, taking that back to her and saying, okay, I really did do these calculations. This isn't crazy. It will inform our decisions going forward. How are we marketing? Should we put our budget into, this social media platform so that you can draw this crowd in? And then it filters down to, we can get 1,000 people into the site. Then this many people, 10% of those maybe are going to go to the page and you're going to get 5%. So those 5%, your profit margin needs to be adjusted so that 5% of people coming in purchase and you're making that $136. It really won't require you to sell that many pieces. It takes that mystery out and takes a lot of the stress out of it just because you took a look at it. And this, I've got this, and I need to, when we get the group set up, I'll clear that out and set that up there. We'll make sure that that's available because I think it was an amazing tool that helps anyone. And this is, mind you, she's got a product-based business, but, service, it's no different really when you're looking at it, how much is my time worth? What are my services? All of this, what's the market like? If I've got all of these things in place, then all I need to do really is look and say, how much do I need to make in order to reach the goals that I have for myself? And it may not be as difficult as what you're thinking.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it usually is not as difficult as we're thinking. We tend to overcomplicate it.
Oh, and yeah, Carlton, and we're all looking at the notes here. Carlton says many grant applications want to see budget and expenses. Yeah, especially some of those more extensive ones. And, the grants that we look at tonight, a lot of them are asking, how you're going to use that money. And I would encourage you to really think about more of, just from that budgeting standpoint, what do you need? Before you start answering that, oh, I want to put some into the marketing, you should know how much of this, if it's a $10,000 grant, you should have that earmarked in different places so that you can accomplish these goals, and set yourself up, because even if the application doesn't ask for it, having that information is just going to make you so much better when you get that money in hand. It's not going to be wasted. You're not going to wonder, where did that $10,000 go? You're going to know, and you're going to know the impact of that on the other side of, getting those funds in.
It's making sure you use that $10,000 to make money.
Yeah. You're going to grab your budget journal. If there's ever a fire, I'm going to grab my budget journal. I'm going to
because I've been guilty. I've been guilty of it. I've received 2 inheritances in my life. And the second one that I got, I was already in finances at that time too. I really made poor decisions with it. And I really could have. Well, I learned from it, but I wish I would have done different with it. Because
me too.
Yeah.
Me too. But it is, hindsight, of course, now. But I felt like at the time, this is what I needed to do. But I did a lot, and there were needs that I took care of, right? But then there were a lot of wants that really didn't focus on the future, and I see Carlton saying invest first, and you're absolutely right. It is really looking at that, saying, okay, and what can I invest in? What's wise? Getting people like you who are looking at the market, or getting people, that are experts in that field. I cannot stress that enough. You do not have to do this alone, and you shouldn't. You should be engaging experts. There are plenty of people out there who want nothing more than to see you succeed. And it's okay that they make money. That's what their expertise is for. I mean, it took a lot for them to get to that point. But it is, taking the time to think about your future. That money is going to go so much farther if you do think about things differently, investing and before spending, before count. So, but yeah, I was in the same boat, Natalie. It was just like, okay, I've got this money and now it's gone. Mm-hmm. Had a great time.
On an asset.
Yeah.
I should have invested in an asset.
Yeah, so it is almost time. I'm so excited for us. It'll be within the next couple of weeks. I want to say our goal is to, by the beginning of October, get the group set up. It'll be through our partner Rescore, just this protected community where we can continue these types of conversations where business owners and experts alike can come in and talk about, some of these challenges as we, those of us that consider ourselves, on the expert side first. Let's look at it that way. Being able to share some of these things that we're learning with full recognition that they benefit us as business owners, and then business owners being able to come in and say, hey, I'm struggling with this, and not worry about, being sold to, not worry about anything but bettering their business. Bettering, yes, that is the word I want to use. But we do have an episode. We've got this segment. We do have a real segment from It's Your Boy Fitzroy. So Natalie, thank you so much for spending that time with us. I know we're going to hear from you on the Money Minute, but we do want to take the time to learn a little bit about technology from our boy Fitzroy. He's got another amazing tool when you're first starting out a business. He promised us it's going to be from beginning to end. So this first one is from the beginning of your business.
The first step to creating a business is coming up with a great business idea, and Validator AI can help with that. This site allows you to input an idea for a business, and the AI will analyze it to see how viable it is, as well as give you suggestions on what steps to take and what pitfalls to look out for. Get as specific as possible when using this. So instead of putting in just real estate, try independent real estate agent in South Florida, focusing on apartments near the beach to get the best results. You can use Validator AI for the low price of $3.99.
With this website, you'll be asking everyone if they can smell, look at the tongue, look at the tongue, look at the tongue, what your business is cooking. All right, don't get beat up out there.
I just don't even know what to think about that. It's out of control.
I think that's a cool, AI, another platform that you can go out there, validate your business idea. That's one of the first steps that, I will walk anyone through. That's what the Seed to Startup program is about, is validating your business idea, but being able to put that in there. Some people are afraid to talk to other people. So it's just like, go ahead and at least run this by and kind of get some of the holes poked into it. I want to try it out for some of the things that I've had different ideas just to see what it says. I haven't used it yet, but I'm excited to, check it out, try it, and see what happens with just the various ideas that have come across my table or others, and will recommend that to different business owners that I know. But Natalie, are you ready?
I am ready.
Some money tips.
Yes. We're going to talk about the Money Minute, and this season I'm going to talk to you guys about just how to earn passive income. So tonight I want to talk to you guys about being an Amazon affiliate. Okay, so there's Amazon influencers, there's Amazon affiliates. What does it mean to be an Amazon affiliate? Well, if you go to let's go to affiliate-program.amazon.com/welcome/get started. Okay, it'll tell you all the rules of it. Basically, Amazon has a referral program on there that, you see the Instagram reels, you see the Facebook pages where people post stuff from Amazon, or, hey, I'm going to review this thing from Amazon, buy it, right? You see those. What those are affiliate links. So what happens is if you go in and you buy that product, they get a commission for telling you about it, right? Well, what does that also mean? If you shop on Amazon, and I don't think there's anybody who doesn't shop on Amazon. My household, we tend to shop a lot on Amazon. My husband loves Amazon. So I signed up to become an affiliate. What does that mean? Anytime we buy something from Amazon, we get a referral. They call it a referral fee. We get a little commission on anything that we buy. You can almost look at it as cash back. What are the qualifications? There are none. There's no quotas. There are no qualifications. Just go on there. It'll have a frequently asked questions. It's a simple form. You fill it out. I think in my first 30 days, though, I did have to sell 3 items. Or buy 3 items in 30 days, which, wasn't a problem. So, but either way, I signed up last month and I got my first deposit. They're small commissions, guys. You're not going to make a ton of money out this, but at least you're getting some money back. Now, one of the reasons I signed up for it, because you guys know, I also have my journals on Amazon. So what happens is when someone buys one of my journals, I'm posting my journals, my links on, Facebook, all these places. When someone goes into my link and buys one of my journals, I get paid as an Amazon author, plus I get paid as an affiliate, right? Because I signed up to be an affiliate as well. So even though it's my own product, I get to double dip on that, quote unquote, but any product that buy. The other thing that's cool about that is, let's say Shanna goes on my Facebook page and she sees a journal that I have on there that she likes. She checks it out. She looks at it and goes, it's not as cute as I thought it was, Natalie. Or I decided I don't want a journal, but hey, I'm in Amazon, let me do some shopping. Because she went in through Amazon on a link I posted. She doesn't even know she went on Amazon through a link I posted, by the way. I get a commission off her little haul of stuff she just bought. So that's a way that you can get a deposit every month from your business. Now, you can kick it up a notch. You can post stuff on social media. You can dance. You can review things. You can do all those things if you want to. But what I would encourage you guys to do is just sign up, get started, get your pinky toe out there to start getting into that world of passive income, because you just got to learn how to start playing the game. And that's a way to just have a little deposit every month, and you'll get addicted. Even if it's a small deposit, you'll get addicted. So go sign up for that. So that's my Money Minute.
Okay, so let me make sure I understand this. I don't have to be an Amazon merchant in order to be an Amazon affiliate. Is that correct?
You are correct.
So, okay. So I want to walk through signing up on that. And maybe
Well, I
we'll do
sent
this like
Allison
for
the
the.
link. It's a very easy form, and then you put in your bank information, and they give you a deposit. I mean, it's really that easy, and you can really take. I mean, if you think about it, you could really brand this towards your business. Like obviously my journals are part of it for me. That's part of my branding, but I could show all the 60% off sales since I'm in finance every month. People could be buying clothes. I mean, you could, yes. Hey, Carlton, my husband makes fun of me, says that's me. But so yeah. That's why people have those Instagram pages where it's I could take someone else's video of a cheese grater that has all these views. It was such a good cheese grater. I could post it on my Instagram with my link with their video. Someone likes their video, clicks on my link, buys it. I get paid for their video. That's how
That's
affiliate.
awesome.
I know. Now they're small commission, guys. Don't get me wrong. I have no idea. As I'm still learning, like I said, I had my first month, so I don't know what I think my first commission was like less than $4 on it.
Okay.
But hey, I'm just starting, and then obviously the more that we buy it, I'm training. Like I got our kids. I'm like, make sure
If you're
shop
gonna buy this, go ahead and buy it through here.
Yeah. I mean, have you ever referred something to a friend that you saw on Amazon? Like, oh my gosh, I thought you'd be so cute in this dress. Check it out. I know you have that thing coming. If you're an affiliate, guess what? They buy that dress. You get a commission.
Okay, and so I guess it reminds me of it in the Smile program that a lot of nonprofits were doing, smile.amazon.com, and whatever their personal link was. If you went to that URL, whatever you purchased, they would get that commission. So it was, yeah. So it's the same thing, except for now it's saying, okay, let me do this for my business. Yeah, okay, I got it now.
I mean, there's so many different things you can do to add on to that, and I will be going through that on the season. But first thing would be just go sign up for your Amazon affiliate account. Just start there.
I'm going to do that.
Yeah.
But before I do that, I'm going to talk about some grants. So we've got, I think, 5 different grants. Okay, the first one is the Awesome Foundation. This was the easiest. It's a micro grant. So $1,000. They give away monthly $1,000. So this will help you. All you need to do is have an awesome idea. So fill out the form. You're going to need to be prepared to submit like up to 5 photos so that the people that are gauging how awesome your idea is, they'll be able to understand that. So you'll tell them about the project. If you've got a website, go ahead and put that URL in. But it can't be any easier than that. It was a very short, very brief application form. So that's that one. So the next few grants that we're going to talk about all expire at the end of this month, but they're from the Women's Net. There is a $15 application fee. So once you pay that, though, you're eligible for any of these grants, and they will award 2 $10,000 grants in some of these sections monthly. This particular nonprofit grant is awarded quarterly. You just need to be 18 in the US or Canada, and it needs to be 50% women owned. So keep that in mind. These are grants for women. So you also may be in the running for the $25,000 annual grant. They give away 2 of those at the end of the year to people who have won in any one of these categories. Let's go to the next one. That was the startup grant. So we did the nonprofit, now the startup grant. If you're a startup business, same principle applies, same requirements. One $15 fee will get you into this. So keep that in mind. The next grant is the education, is it? Oh, okay, that's this. Okay, we got the nonprofit, we got the startup. What's the next one? We still need more. There are 3 more, I think, but I'm not seeing them. Okay, so somewhere there are 3 other grants. There's one on education and childcare. That's the one for September specifically. Still that same company. Yeah, there are still that same company. There's the monthly Amber grant, the education and childcare grant, and the Yeah, we've covered them all there. So there were just 4 of those. So keep that in mind. If you go, it's a $115 fee, and then you can apply for any of these that are relevant to you. So make sure that you go and do that. The earlier you apply, the better your chances are. So make sure and keep that in mind. And we are at time, folks. I'm so excited that, okay, now we get all of the grants back up there. But we'll put those in that group to make sure that you have access to them. Natalie always posts them on Instagram as well. You've got until the end of the month. We're trying to give you a little bit more time to get the information in. Some require videos. And I think just as a general rule, a lot more grant companies that I'm seeing are requiring you as the founder or someone that represents your company to do like a 1.5, 2-minute video to just introduce what it's about. It's not a bad idea to have. Super, super excited for anyone that gets one. Let us know, but it should be fairly simple. And I think that's all I have, Natalie. What do we have? I know we've got next week. I think we've got the amazing Carlton Hoskins coming on with us next week, talking about delegating, because that's another area that a lot of business owners do not do so well. So looking forward to that conversation with him and just, really getting down and dirty. We will also have a new business owner, another business owner coming in the second half of the show. So we're bringing that back, guys. We want to make sure that business owners have a voice here. You get that exposure and you get free advice. And we all want something free when we're first starting our business. So definitely keep that in mind. So grateful for all of our sponsors and everyone that supported us. Love to have you join that group. As soon as we open it up, we'll make sure that you have that information available, and then we can continue conversations like this and offer you guys more value. So yeah, there you are. Natalie, did I forget anything?
I think that's it.
All right. Well, I guess we're going to let everyone go. Thank you so much. Natalie, your wisdom was amazing. Love talking to you about money. I always learn something. And I'm so excited for us to continue helping business owners to better their business. And as a matter of fact, in order to do that, all you need to do is go to app.pillar5.com/try. And you can use the Pillar 5 software to understand where you are in your business journey, understand exactly where you are. Again, that knowledge is power. And then that is definitely going to help you advance your business and make sure that it's sustainable in the future. We will see you all next Thursday.
Our goal is simple: to help you achieve the dream and vision you first had when you thought about starting a business. We're here to make growing your business less complicated. There are building blocks to build a sustainable business. We promise to seek them out and address them all. The Better Your Business Show starts now.